Okay, so one of the trips we took, it's like I took, and I saw it a few times, was Chicago. I really liked Chicago, and got to go there like 3 times back in the early part of the '90s, and I really liked it a lot. I liked the people there, very friendly. People very for a big city, very friendly, friendlier than like say Los Angeles. Actually, it's interesting because Los Angeles, the people used to be friendlier. Over a period of time, they're just not as open. Not that they're rude or anything. It's just that they're not openly as friendly as they used to be generally speaking. And I think it just depends on where you live in like Los Angeles or whatever. And I've noticed since I've been back in Gardena, it's like people are friendlier here, more open here than they are in, like, say, if I was like living somewhere in the middle of Los Angeles. So let's see. So I uh, went to Chicago a few times, like I said, and it was for the trade show company. I worked for a company called Registration Control Systems, and we went to, we did a few trade shows. They were always doing trade shows in Chicago, but there was one that was really big, and the name's escaping me right now. I think National Plastics Exposition. That's what it is, National Plastics Exposition, and they only have it. I don't know if they still have it, but they only had it every like 3 years or something, and so it was a big deal. And so I went. I usually, stayed in the office and stuff to do, the accounting work and stuff. But on that, there were a few shows they did it once in a while that they really needed the accountant, me to be there along because they needed the extra help because they did the registration. It was just a huge deal with handling cash and everything. So I did that show, and really liked it. I got to see some of Chicago when I was there. The show itself was interesting. I got to meet some Chicago cops. One of them was named Ruben Garza, and I got to know him and his buddy, and I can't think of his buddy's name. And because they were working they were there as, I don't know if they were there as cops or as security, security service or anything, but they were actually Chicago cops and stuff. But anyway, Chicago's really a nice place, and I did get to the few times I went. It's like I went back again to there was a company they were kind of merging with, and I went it's like it was. He was in Chicago. The one guy was in Chicago. It's like, and I went to meet him and stuff. Meet him back there. I liked him a lot. I don't remember his name, but so I went there for that. And then when I was there, I also took advantage of the fact that it was in Chicago. So I did some sightseeing and so on. And one of the things I really liked a lot was the Art Institute of Chicago. If you're ever in Chicago, make sure you go to the Art Institute of Chicago. Fascinating art. I fell in love with this one artist called Ivan Albright, and he has very interesting artwork. It's it's like it took him a long time. He actually, when he did paintings and so on, he did them to be he meant them, not to necessarily be held in private hands, but to be museum pieces. And some of the names of them were interesting. I remember one of them is like, it's like somebody's like, hand on a coffin or something. You have to look it up. It's called That Which I Should Have Done, I Did Not Do. So it's like, anyway, he's an interesting artist, well worth looking into. And I just enjoyed it. I feel bad for Chicago these days because they got they had one really bad mayor. I don't know if Chicago's ever really had a great mayor, but they had one really bad mayor. They booted her out, and then they got one just as bad, if not worse. And I don't expect it to get any better for the people of Chicago. So I feel for Chicago. Anyway, it's like I just wanted to talk about Chicago and how much I like going there and how much I like the people there. And that's it.